Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's weekly musings is Are you making new or repeating old? I'm doing a series of weekly musings, and I'm using posts from my blog as inspiration. Now, I wrote these a while ago, and the world has completely changed since then. However, I'm finding this information still to be very evergreen and pertinent for what's going on now. At the end, I will summarize the topic based on what's going on now, and also I have some special authors, so stay tuned to the very end to see what they are. Are you making new or repeating old? All of our creations are our babies. Whether you're planting a garden, writing a novel, putting together a fish tank, or building a house, you're utilizing your creative energy to give birth to something physically. How do you bring your desires into form? I looked at the process of giving birth from the standpoint of consciousness, and these are the steps. How to make a human. First, love. Second, weave patterns together. Third, narrow focus these patterns so they become dense. Fourth, from the woven patterns, density becomes matter within the boundaries of time and space. Fifth, matter, an embodiment of love, gestates in a pool of perceptions. Sixth, when the time is right, matter emerges into the story time to weave its own story and patterns. I'm really impressed I wrote that. That last part, the sixth step, applies more to human beings, but if you think about it, your fish tank or garden does have its own storyline. My fish tank was supposed to be populated with 9 fish, 8 gold or red and 1 black. But the first fish I put in there turned out to be pregnant, so within a week I had 20 little black fish, and it took a few months before I got the right combination in there. It had its own storyline beyond my agenda and intention for it. This week I was meditating on bringing a desire into form, turning into it as a thought and imagining it becoming dense. As I caught myself, instead of bringing in new energy, as it became dense, I was focusing on what I did not want to create. In other words, I was focusing on all the things that hadn't worked in the past, rather than this new idea I wanted to create. Has this ever happened to you? You apply all the law of attraction or secret techniques, and instead of getting what you want, you get a repeat of the same old stuff. I manifested my current husband in 9 weeks by very deliberately stating what I wanted in a relationship. Anytime my thoughts strayed to a list of complaints about my exes, I'd metaphorically grab myself by the ears and make counteracting statements. When you work on consciously creating a dream or desire, don't focus on making them dense. Do narrow your focus to exactly what you want, leaving room for your consciousness aspect of yourself to bring it in more perfectly or greater than you can imagine. Realize your perceptions color or shape your manifestation, so release limited or distorted ones. And try this for the next 7 days and see what happens. And let me know in the comments below when you do, because I love to read your comments. The last thing there about your perceptions is, if you think about it, we're veritable picture galleries of perceptions, because from the moment we're conceived, we're either creating our own perceptions or receiving projections. And it's a little bit like having these transparencies, these slides to view things through, and it does distort our outer world. So a way to de-energize these pictures, and you can create your own as well, but you can imagine blowing bubbles, and that each bubble that pops is a mental image picture that you're releasing. And if you just do that every day, just imagine a stream of bubbles, it can completely transform your life. And I really love this because I have been experiencing some density in creating a trip to Spain in July. My son and daughter-in-law there, their parental leave is up, and they have a 9-month-old baby. The month of July is when they both have to be back at work. And I did this for their older child, who's now 2. I went out and watched him for the month of July. And then in August, all of Spain goes on vacation. And in September, he started nursery school. So this little fellow is going to need someone to watch him for the month of July. And then he'll go to nursery school in September. And then in January, I will move to Spain and get to be grandma for these guys. But I haven't been experiencing a lot of density and effort about this. I had this idea about how to make human. You can also see how to create something in your life, how to manifest circumstances in your life, or manifest something solid into your reality. And love is the initial energy that creates all things. First, in imagining what you want to create, imbue it with love. And then you don't have to know what the patterns are, but you can see or imagine the the patterns weaving together and narrow focus these patterns so that they become dense. I'd be kind of careful about that. There's a lot of density in the world today, but you can see the patterns coming together so that they weave together into something that's manifesting physically. And you can just notice as they manifest physically, they're becoming matter within the boundaries of time and space. And imagine the thing that you want to create gestating in a pool of love, an embodiment of love. And when the time is right, it will manifest in your life. That last part I have found to be frustrating at times because as consciousness, there is, in a sense, a divine timing to things, and it's not as immediate as I would like it to be. So for instance, we actually planned to be living in Spain last June, and other things happened. I'm going to enjoy using some of these suggestions to manifest my reality as well. If you like these videos, please share them with your family and friends and on your social media. And please click the thumbs up button, the heart button. Please like, share, subscribe, because all of those things, including comments, tell the algorithm to get this out to as many people as possible and in front of somebody who really needs to see this information. And if you'd like a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the Skybox technique. It'll give you a drone's eye perspective of your life and all that's going on in the world today. And if you'd like to learn how to navigate your life as consciousness, click on the link below to my self-study course. It'll give you tools and techniques so that you can navigate your life as consciousness. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. And there you can learn about my individual sessions. So go to joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you next week in another Weekly Musings.